I'm ready. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of Englewood Cliffs. Today is November 9th. We're starting late. I apologize. We had a long caucus meeting. It's 8:57 p.m. And we'll try to be efficient and effective. Madam Clerk, have a roll call, please.
Mayor Granjack?
Here.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Here.
E. Park?
Here.
O.
Here.
McMorro?
Here.
M. Park?
Here.
Wu?
Here.
Borough Attorney?
Present.
Superintendent of DPW?
Here.
Municipal Clerk? Oh, I'm present. We're all here.
She's here. Okay, everybody's here. Let's stand and salute our flag. And afterwards, please remain standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stand with me and observe a moment of silence for a resident, Rajiv Shah, who passed away over the last month, and also a moment of silence to remember the victims of terror in Lower Manhattan last week, and also the victims of gun violence in Las Vegas and Sutherland Springs, Texas. Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please read the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting was given to the press and posted as required. Date and time of this meeting was legally given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. This notice is on file with the municipal clerk and posted on the bulletin board. Minutes of this meeting will be made available to the public upon the completion of typing and proofreading by the municipal clerk.
Thank you. Everyone on council should have received the 2017 caucus and regular minutes of October 11th, the 2017 closed session minutes of January 1, February 2nd, February 8th, April 12th, May 10th, June 14th, and July 12th. And if you did, and if you reviewed them, and if you accept them, please give me a motion, and somebody second it, so we approve them. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We received one piece of correspondence from Eric Bernstein, Esquire. It's privileged and confidential. I'd like to have the chairman of our Finance Committee, Borough Council President Carol McMorro, address the payment of claims for the period October 12th, 2017 through November 9th, 2017.
Thank you, Mayor. I've reviewed the bills and move that they be paid. The total bill list is $2,092,260.36.
I need a second.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park? Yes. O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes,
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you. Department head reports for October 2017 were distributed to all council members. Should have had a chance to review them. And if you have any questions, please ask now. Otherwise, we'll just continue on with our agenda.
Before you start talking.
Everybody good? Okay. Okay. Prior to opening up to the public, Borough Council would like to add something to our agenda.
Just a little housekeeping. We missed a matter that we are tabling. Madam Clerk, we
Yes.
are tabling item number 209. Investigation as discussed in closed session.
Okay, I need a motion.
So move.
Second.
Was that Mr. Park?
Yes.
You all don't have an agenda, can you tell us what 209 is, please?
Appoint borough attorney to represent defendants in litigation entitled Chiaffi versus Borough et al. From 2016.
I'm sorry, can you please say that into the microphone, otherwise the recorder's not, and make sure your microphone is turned on?
It's on. Sorry.
If you could repeat it again, motion to table, appoint borough attorney to represent defendants in litigation, Chiaffi versus Borough.
2016 litigation.
Okay, it was a motion by M. Park, second by E. Park. All in favor?
Aye.
And, Mr. Mayor, one other housekeeping, I don't know that we really need to note this, but I would like it noted for the record, that with respect to item number 16 on the closed session resolution, we tabled that in closed session, we did not do that, and we will put it on for another closed session in the future. Okay, I just want to make a note that we didn't do that.
Okay, thank you. Prior to opening up to the public, I just want to mention something that I asked our borough administrator, Catherine Steino, to take care of for me. She's not well today, so she's not here tonight. But I asked her to circulate an email to all borough employees and volunteers, reminding them that the New Jersey Attorney General does have on its website an anti-corruption reporting program. It's anonymous, it's voluntary, but I want to make sure that if anyone feels that they have anything to report, that it gets reported and that they deal with it. Okay, can I have a motion to open up to the public? All in favor?
Aye.
If there's anyone from the public who wishes to be heard, please raise your hand, wait for me to acknowledge you, come up to the microphone right here, state your name and address, please. Yes.
Deborah Sabari, 106 Hollywood. I see that we have a few tax appeals and resolutions. I just wanted to confirm that those dollars are in the 2017 budget for the payouts of the tax appeals that I guess you're voting on today?
No, there's no payouts being made this year.
No payouts being made this year?
Right.
Okay.
And they will be
In 2018,
itemized in the
19?
resolutions, and they will be under consideration in the budget.
Okay, thank you. In looking through all the resolutions here tonight, I see that there are a lot of things that are missing dollar values. Everything from the public safety director, which we're advertising for, a fair amount of lawsuits, which I'm trying to understand, is the insurance company not representing us in these lawsuits? Is JIF representing? Like, why do we need to get special counsel?
Okay. On the 4 lawsuits that have 4 resolutions tonight, and they were discussed in closed session as well, all of those actions are what we call prerogative writ actions. They challenge municipal action, official municipal action that was
Okay.
taken. They do not seek money damages. And this is in general.
Okay.
In general, what they seek is to overturn municipal action.
Okay.
They don't seek dollars. They are not covered by JIF. They require the borough to defend themselves and any other named defendant who qualifies for indemnity and coverage.
And you're handling most of those?
Yes, hold on. And JIF, for all the other lawsuits where they claim damages, money damages, are covered under insurance. These type of insurance, 4 lawsuits that we got in the space of a couple of weeks, are not covered by JIF. Joint insurance fund that we participate in, so we have to provide them.
Okay.
I am seeking the council's approval on 2 of those matters, because I have no conflicts of interest. On the one case that's filed by Councilwoman Park, I would not represent any defendant in that case, because I represent
saw
the
that.
borough,
Right, I saw that.
and I represent the mayor and council as a whole. So I certainly would not take a litigation against one of the mayor and council members.
No.
I wouldn't do that.
I can appreciate that.
Right.
What I didn't understand is why it was taken off as it was originally put on and then separated out. Is that what was happening?
Okay,
Like, you got rid of
with
that
respect to
resolution and-
with respect to the Ellen Park matter,
Right.
I can explain it now, Mayor, or later?
Go ahead.
Okay. With respect to that litigation, there are 4 named defendants. We had to go out on an emergency basis for an RFQ because I'm conflicted. So it's explained in the resolution.
Yeah, no, I read it, but
Yeah.
didn't you,
I had blanks in there.
resolution and then reinsert
Okay, what happened?
217 and 218?
So we got an RFQ, we have an RFQ, and we got only 3 responses. We had, in addition, 2 other recommendations that were researched by our borough administrator. So we had a total of 5. One is, of the 5, 4 have conflicts.
Okay.
They can't be appointed, so we are behind the 8 ball in getting appointment. We can appoint for 1 person, that's one of the separated resolutions. The second resolution is to ask the borough administrator to undertake search for counsel for the other 3 defendants, which will be back on the agenda at an open public meeting.
Okay. So, what I'm trying to get at
Yes.
is, now I understand that, thank you, is that the only cases that have a value, a dollar value to the hourly rate are the ones that you're handling. And I'm sure that's because you've established what your rate is.
Yes.
For matters outside.
Right.
But what are we projecting in our budgets that we're going to be spending
Yes.
for these lawsuits, and is it I know we have a budget in our
Yeah.
current 2017, I don't know if it was 300,000, it was pretty hefty. I'm just wondering, with all these lawsuits that aren't covered by JIF, where
Yes.
you're just paying the deductibles,
Yes.
do we have enough money in our budget?
Okay, so the only thing I can say to you, because I'm the borough attorney, not the CFO or anything,
Right.
but that we have a borough administrator that is very cognizant of requirements for the budget. And she is certainly working on and anticipating what needs to be done to carry us through the end of the year and what needs to be done in the new budget. She's highly cognizant of it. With respect to the particular matter that we are talking about, we RFQ'd, we have 1 counsel that we can appoint. He has agreed to the hourly rate of $125 per hour. So we do have a fixed amount for that appointment we're doing tonight. We do not have a not to exceed because it's a litigation. Generally, the litigation
I
goes to
understand
the
that.
end.
The resolution says that we have the money in the budget, so...
That's probably because I probably checked with
I
her.
just want to know that the money is in the budget for this.
Yeah,
Because there's a
I-
lot going on here, and there's a
And-
lot of money
Yes.
going to be spent that's not covered by the insurance. So
Yes.
just defer-
And
I
you,
just wanted to see if it's
and I,
in the budget.
I would also, again, we're only doing 1 appointment now, so you'll get another chance to ask when hopefully Catherine is here,
Okay.
or you could pick up the phone and speak with her, or however you do it.
Not a problem. I'm just asking because it's on the agenda
Yes.
tonight.
And the
other thing is,
third
do we have
matter-
a budget for the public safety director
Wait.
yet? We're going out to advertise.
Let me just add one more thing on the litigation. I'm
Okay.
going to get appointed on 2 matters. The
Right.
third matter, we're deferring for now.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm not going to go appointed with that.
Okay. So we're advertising for a public safety director. I'm not going to ask the question as to why we need one. We all have our opinions as to whether we need one or not. But we're going out. That definitely was not in our 2017 budget. So at this point, we're going out to advertise. Are we still standing with, we don't know what we're going to pay the public safety director? Or does somebody want to let us know what's in the budget for this?
I was just going to say, the administrator was handled the same way. The administrative position was handled the same way. We didn't put a salary in there. We just advertised, we interviewed, and then after, I'll let
Yeah.
Councilman...
Yeah,
after that, then-
we had a whole range of salaries for the administrative position based on their qualifications. So right now with the public safety director, we really don't know who we're going to get as candidates. So,
But you don't have a rate that you're...
no, we don't at this moment in time. We will have one once we meet with them.
So you created a position and you're going to add it to our budget and you have no idea if it's between 100,
That's
150,
consistent with-
150, and 130?
Okay, so that's consistent with past practice.
Yeah, as
Okay,
finance chair, I'll answer that question. I know you asked, and I'm going to say it again. It's absolutely acceptable to do it this way. We're going to be advertising, we will interview, we don't know if it's part-time, full-time, and after that, we will meet as a council again, discuss, and we'll determine it. That's it, we've answered the question.
And also, there won't,
So I
yeah,
guess then potentially...
no, there won't be any
if the
impact.
salary is too high, you could vote not to have a public safety.
That's true too, but, and also, just bear in mind that we're in 2017, and we're not going to impact the budget in 2017 with this position. That's a 2018 position. Thank
If it
you.
impacts this budget or next year's budget, it still impacts...
Well, your question was this budget. Your question was this budget.
Yes, but it's this budget or next year's budget, it still impacts this town. We're
Of course it
taking on
does.
additional salaries.
A lot of things impact this
That's what I'm
town.
getting at.
A lot of things
Thank you.
impact this town. Thank you. Just for people who are standing, there are seats here, and also I'd like you to clear the doorway, just as a public, if we had a public safety director, they would have told me to tell you to clear the doorway, so, yes, sir, right there.
Thomas Manolio, 603 Floyd Street. Have a question. I know this year and coming forward, you have a lot of claims to be paid against the borough. Okay, just curious, what's the borough's responsibility, and how much is their deductible, and how much is the insurance company paying?
I don't think you had the right premise. You said you know something that I don't know, because I don't know that we are
Oh,
paying
so
any
you don't
claims.
answer my question. It's
I
a
don't
straight,
know.
simple, full...
You're asking me to comment on something that's not
How much
true.
is our insurance deductible?
I'm sorry.
Jim?
75,000?
It's 75.
So each occurrence is $75,000 that we get
In
sued.
general,
In general?
yes.
Okay. I know, I sat up there for 15 years.
So
Thank you.
you're speaking in general, right? So in general, 75
Well,
grand.
there was people up here that got paid, and I'm sure the town sent them checks for $75,000, that's what you're saying. The insurance company doesn't pay the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a deductible.
We don't pay the whole thing either, right?
I understand that. The insurance company pays a certain amount, and the town's responsible for a certain amount.
Right.
Trust me, I'm very well versed in it. I sat up there.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. Yes, sir. I do have to ask you to keep that open there. Thank you.
Good evening. Russell Perino, 220 Fairview Avenue. A couple quick comments. Election is behind us. Congratulations to Councilman Aversa and Councilwoman Park. I'm sorry, I will speak up.
Oh, excuse me, Councilman Renault, not
I'm sorry. Next time. Couple comments. One is regarding litigations that face this borough. I think every resident of this town pays every single time someone commences litigation against the borough, against this council. And I find it affront because it's being used, from my perspective, as a political weapon. I'm not saying every single lawsuit that's been filed fits into that category, but I do believe most of them do. One member of our council just filed, an action I understand very recently. And I remember back when Councilwoman McMorrow sat alone as the lone Republican on his council, and she faced, I think, a similar issue with the claim that she didn't get documents and was kept in the dark in many, many matters. And she's voiced her disgust in public on many occasions, and she sat down and then she took it. And I think that there should be some willingness to understand, if you're in a minority, that things can't always go your way. And the thought of just filing a lawsuit to try to somehow change the dynamic, I find it an affront because it's costing us all money. You have the right to get up and speak at every meeting. You have the right to put it in writing. You have the right to put it in writing to the proper authorities. But to file civil litigation that's costing me money and everyone else standing in this room, I find unacceptable. That's one litigation. There's many others here that I feel also, excuse me,
I'm going to have to ask the public to just refrain from speaking. If you need to have a conversation, you're welcome to leave and come back.
I've been coming to these meetings for many years, not every meeting, but for more years than most folks that are standing here, or sitting here. And I think I understand the dynamic of how this council can and should work. And the fact that these lawsuits are being brought to further political agendas, I find unacceptable. One more matter I want to just touch on. There was a political flyer put out that spoke about actions of the planning board. As most of you probably know, I chair the planning board at this time. And one full page of one of these flyers not only questioned, but I think condemned the planning board in its own way, suggesting that the board was acting in a way that was the benefit of a single property owner in this town. This was regarding the B3 a zone that we were asked to look at rezoning that zone. And we've got 12 members sitting on that board now, and each of them take insult that our actions could be even mentioned or construed that we were doing something inappropriate. So that doesn't belong in the political arena. I know it's done now and it's over, but it's not right. We're volunteers, we're doing what we think is right. It's not for one property owner, as was suggested in that flyer, and it just shouldn't have happened. And anyone who signed off on that, shame on you. Thank you.
Mr. Perino, I thank you for serving on the planning board and for leading it as well as you have. Thank you, and I look forward to doing good things in the future with you to help this town. Anybody else?
Over here.
Oh, yes.
Karen Geiger, 270 Alfred. Few things. First of all, about the Ellen Park litigation. I've been sitting here and listening to all the money we're going to be spending on the town's behalf to prevent a seated councilwoman from getting information that she believes is necessary to do her job. It's very simple. We don't need to litigate. You just have to give her what she wants. And that won't cost us a penny. And it's your arrogance and your inability to work with both sides of the aisle that is causing this litigation, and not the actions of a councilwoman who is trying to do what she was elected to do, and that entitles her to see virtually every piece of paper in this borough, with very, very few exceptions.
Actually, you know what? It doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't.
And I'm not going to argue with you. If something
It doesn't.
shouldn't
But go
have
ahead.
been, you can redact
Keep your
what you feel has to be.
Go ahead.
Excuse me?
Keep your false narrative going. I know you want her to give you information that you can't get right away. Her asking me for every email I ever wrote since I've been mayor is just not logical. Okay,
Excuse me.
go
That's
on.
inappropriate.
Go on.
I'm just,
Lower the microphone because it's
well,
not...
somebody else.
No, just lower the plug.
This?
That's it. That's perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've said what I had to say about the litigation, and I've responded to the waste of my taxpayer dollars. It's not because Ellen Park is in the wrong. It's because the members of the council who are not giving her the information that she always requests are in the wrong, and it's causing it. And it's despicable that council members should deny access to any information to another seated councilwoman. Next.
That's what that lawsuit is correct and true in what she's stating.
Excuse me.
You'll acknowledge that, correct?
Excuse me, I'm not...
Well, I'm responding to you because I'm a named
I'm not
defendant.
asking you-
You don't need to, but I will respond, Ms.
I'm not asking you to
Geiger.
respond right now, Mrs. McMorro.
You don't need me to, I'm sitting
Go
with you.
go ahead, Ms. Geiger. I've
The
seen you.
labor attorney, on the Resolution 17-192, you're increasing the payment to be made to the labor attorney from $50,000 to $100,000. I believe that's what the resolution calls for. Can you tell us why there's such a huge change in what you expect to have this labor attorney billing for? No?
You should,
Okay, a simple matter.
It's a not to exceed.
not to
So
Yes,
when
but you're
when you write your
talking
next
about
mailer, make sure it's not to exceed.
Oh, I will
okay?
have it accurate, I can assure you.
Okay,
It
thank-
says that they're paid up to $50,000, and you're increasing it by an additional by not to exceed an additional $50,000.
Correct.
Which comes out to 100.
Correct. It's just that the resolution that was adopted
Was
at
for 50.
was for 50, and the work that law firm has performed has come very close to $50,000. So to avoid a situation of going over before the end of the year, we're just adding another $50,000, which is a little high, but at least we don't need to introduce another resolution come December.
But my question is, what has come to your attention that is new for this labor attorney that's causing him to exceed the $50,000 that you provided for earlier?
He's at 50 now, we can't make any more payments, so if he submits a bill, we can't pay it without the correct resolution.
All right, let's go. December 14th, 2016. I've noticed that there are a lot of executive session minutes that have been approved by the council, but this one is a long, long time ago. And I'd like to know when those are going to be submitted to the council for approval.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Any reason?
I don't know.
There isn't.
What, you accuse me of giving false information on the minutes.
Okay, that's fine. It'll be dealt with.
Okay. My final question, and this relates to the campaign. I take great offense when members of this council who are designated by the council to work with our police write in a flyer, why does this town of 5,300 people with virtually no crime, and it goes on, pay more than? Bill, you are handing out this flyer. You are the police commissioner. The reason we have low crime, I believe, in this town is because we have an effective police force that works 24/7 to protect us. We live right near New York City. We are on a major thoroughfare. It's not about 5,300 homes. And most residents respect and revere their police. And for you, who was supposed to be able to talk to them and to work with them, to hand out a flyer that disrespects them is reprehensible. And I'm sorry, that's terrible.
And just for everyone's benefit in the audience and who's going to view this in the future, Karen Geyer, who just spoke, was also suing the town earlier this year. She and Melanie Simon, Joe Favaro, got the headline, and then in October, their lawyer, who's also our former borough lawyer, wrote a letter, an email to our borough council saying, hey, you know what, we want to dismiss it now. Join me in dismissing it. So it's all a game, folks, but the game actually costs you all money, okay? And then, no sooner does that one get dismissed, but we didn't consent to it, we had the judge actually dismiss it, okay? Then, no sooner is that one dismissed, than Joe Favaro and Melanie Simon turn around, and they sue again, okay? So this is what's costing you money. This is why we have to increase the fees that we're paying to our attorneys. Anybody else wishing to be
I
heard?
think Bill wanted to respond.
Okay, but, did you want to say something? No. No, okay. Anybody, yes, there's a hand over there. All right, the microphone is now too low. Mr. Di Gregorio, next time just leave it. Don't make yourself so comfortable here.
Hi, I'm Michael Cook, 535 Lloyd.
Mr. Di Gregorio, please.
He's got it.
Microphone's not on. Check 1, 2. It's not on.
Sorry. No, hold on. Sir, stop taking advice. Can you repeat your name, sir, and your address?
Sure.
Thank you.
Michael Cook, 535 Lloyd. So I just want to make some simple statements. So I've been here only for 3 years. I used to live in central New Jersey for about 20 years. I just came up here with my wife because she wanted to be very close to H Mart. So that's the main reason I came up here. So she's very happy, which makes me happy.
Happy wife.
Yes. So I don't have any previous history of the town, but clearly I have 2 kids, and my daughter is going to upper school now, and it's great. So I don't know all the details right now, but really, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. The main thing I really care is probably what most people care. Clearly that I don't agree with a lot of, I don't agree with every decision that probably you're gonna make, and I'm okay with it. You guys got elected, and all the councilmen, councilwoman got elected here, mayor got elected, and at least personally, and I know that a lot of friends that I know, especially Asian friends that I know, unfortunately, whatever the cultural background and because of the language barrier, they really don't speak out that much. But I know that most of them would like to have a just working, practical government, and that's really what we're asking, right? And that's what I'm gonna vote for, and that's what I'm gonna recommend my friends to do going forward, right? So, I just want to make a very simple statement. Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to be heard?
Debbie Fair, 49 Irving Avenue. I would like to make a comment on all of this litigation. And I believe it is well known that when a governing body does not conduct itself properly and does not put the best interest of the town first and pulls things like keeping information from a council member, that never happened before. I don't know what Mr. Perino was referring to Mrs. McMorro.
Oh, man, I got
but
that,
it
the best
never
laugh I had all
happened.
night, I gotta tell you.
No, it did not. Everyone,
all the time.
excuse me, I have
Oh, my
the floor. Everyone was
can have the
always
floor.
treated
Okay,
equally.
let's-
Everyone got the
Folks.
same packets. Everyone got the same information. Now, you have to ask yourselves, what are you doing wrong that so many lawsuits are coming in against you?
Actually, that's not the
That
question I
is
have to
the
ask
question. And I think deep down inside, you know exactly why these lawsuits are coming in. And at the end of the day, when it's all adjudicated, we're all going to know exactly what went on here.
I agree with you, because
I
actually,
can't
the ones that got
wait for that.
dismissed speak volumes for the nonsense that you're spewing right
I
now.
am not spewing nonsense.
The lawsuits are dismissed. They're getting dismissed, okay? One after another.
Yes.
And they're being...
Then you cannot,
reinstated.
you and your friends cannot use the courts to legislate or to usurp the governing body, okay? Take
No one
that home.
is doing
and
that. No one
That is exactly
doing
what you're
that.
trying to do.
You are
And the
doing
judges see right
Yes.
through it, and they throw them out.
Really? And,
Yes.
you know, but it was okay when other people sue the borough. That's okay.
Now, I'm opposed to all lawsuits
Oh,
against the borough.
really?
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
I have opposed
Oh,
every single one.
really?
Yeah.
That's why you give payouts against
I don't give
judges'
'em.
recommendations when the judge
Absolutely
recommends
not.
disciplinary action, and you go ahead and pay them and give them retroactive promotions to boost their pension. Yeah, right.
She said, "Are you kidding?" And I agree.
I am not kidding.
Our chief signed off on that settlement too, because it was a
You
good...
made the decision, and it was not a
It
good
was a
settlement.
good
You
settlement
made
for
it.
this
No,
borough.
it was
No
not.
question.
No, it was not.
was-
No,
Signed
it
off,
was
chief's
not.
lawyer signed off, chief signed a document. Thank you.
You made the
Thank you.
decision. You made the decision.
Yeah, the mayor
And it's
council-
your
As a
actions that
matter
are
of fact,
causing
it's
these
that
lawsuits.
all these people here voted unanimously on that settlement.
Well, it was
including-
wrong.
Okay, thank you.
Including Councilman
It was
Larson,
wrong.
Councilwoman
It was
Clark.
wrong, and it was
Yes.
your actions
But
that
it's
were
your
wrong.
opinion,
And I'm entitled to it.
right?
Yes.
This is
Thank you
still
for sharing your
America,
feelings,
I'm
yes.
pretty sure.
But-
Yeah, facts have no feelings, man.
Facts.
We work on facts. You work on feelings.
Lauren Eastwood, 4 Willow Drive.
It's the microphone.
Yes,
for it.
please.
You found your true calling, Mr. Gregorio. Thank you.
First of all, I have also sat on the governing body, and my experience was similar to Council President McMorrow's. I was asked to vote on Dan Morrissey's termination agreement with a big fat payout without being given an opportunity to read the contract. I was asked to vote on police hiring without being able to see all of the resumes or interview people. We were kept in the dark We fought to get what we wanted. Sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't. But we never sued the borough. I would also like to point out that I found the comment about retroactive promotions from Ms. Fair rather curious, given that I believe she was the recipient of a $10,000 retroactive raise, which was given to her in closed session, where you're not supposed to spend money. That's supposed to be done in public.
It absolutely is true.
And she also sued the borough. You can't negotiate agreements like that in closed session. But at any rate, on to my prepared remarks. Over the last 2 weeks, I've received 2 flyers from the Englewood Cliffs Police. In addition, an email which the Englewood Cliffs Police sent to other residents was forwarded to me. The flyers troubled me, both because of the untruthfulness of some of their content and the use of public property, the Englewood Cliffs Police Patch, for the benefit of 2 political candidates. I will be requesting an internal affairs investigation on both the truthfulness of specific claims in these flyers and the use of the police patch in the police union's private mailings. The email, which another resident forwarded to me, was even more disturbing. The sender of that email was, quote, EC Police Department, closed quote, not the police union. It is my understanding that police departments are not allowed to endorse political candidates. That would make sense, since a police department must be perceived as fair and impartial by all of the people it serves in order to function effectively. I also will be requesting an investigation into this email, specifically who actually sent this email, the use of the name EC Police Department and the police patch in this email, whether borough computer equipment, borough email lists, and/or borough software programs were used to send this email, and the truthfulness of specific claims. I have a right to feel safe in my own home and in my own hometown. Right now, I don't. It's crystal clear from the PBA's flyers and Facebook posts that the PBA members have enormous animosity towards Republicans. Given the police department's history and their voter intimidation in the recent election, I don't know how far they'll go. Will they falsify an accident report to make it look like I was at fault instead of one of their political allies? Will they plant drugs on my property, in my house, or in my car? This is my property.
Okay, Mr. Geiger, if you can't sit there and not make noise, you have to leave, sir. Okay, thank you.
And then claim they found him? Will they shoot my dog and claim he attacked them? I shouldn't have to install security cameras around my house to watch the police. And I shouldn't have to tape record every conversation I have with the police or political allies of Gloria O., Ed Aversa, and Ellen Park, in case one of them lies about what I said and the others back that person up. And I know I'm not the only person in this town who has these concerns. I can think of no statement that can be made, no discussion that can be had, and no action that can be taken that would restore my trust in the Englewood Cliffs Police Department. Under the circumstances, I believe this council must immediately consider whether the Englewood Cliffs Police Department can effectively serve this community, given its recent actions, the distrust and fear which those actions have created, the police department's history of ignoring allegations of serious wrongdoing by officers, and the department's apparent belief that there will be no material consequences for anything, including serious misconduct. Unfortunately, the EC Police Department flyers and emails were only part of the Democrats' deceitful and dishonest campaign literature this year. It would take all night to discuss every one of them, given the number of untruths. However, I do want to point out a few particularly offensive claims and actions tonight. First, the attacks on Councilman Park by the police, Councilwoman Gloria O., and Councilman Ed Aversa for discussing an email that a second-generation Korean American sent to the mayor and council on August 11, 2016. In my opinion, the incident described in this resident's email was clearly racial profiling. But I'm going to read part of the email and let everyone decide for themselves. The email says, "Today, as I was driving home from the gym, I noticed that all the roads leading to our home were blocked due to construction. Because I was unable to find a way in, I slowly drove past a road closed sign, because I had noticed a police car right past it waiting there. I waved my hand to signal to the officer in the car that I wanted to ask him a question. He instead asked me why I couldn't read the sign behind me. I tried telling him I simply wanted to ask a question, but he insisted on pointing out that I had passed the road closed sign and threatened to give me a ticket. I insisted I only passed the sign to ask him how I could get home, and he became more aggressive in his speech and demeanor. At this point, I started to record our conversation on my phone. Once I began recording, he immediately softened his stance and threats. Nonetheless, he was still extremely rude, informing me he could care less about how I should get to my home. When I asked again how I was supposed to get home when all of the roads were blocked, he told me to park the car and get out and walk. After this incident, I noticed a few other cars had done the same thing as myself, driving past the initial road closed sign, trying to figure out a way to get home. The officer did not belligerently approach the other vehicles and allowed them to go a different route without stopping them unnecessarily. I couldn't help but wonder why his treatment of me was inconsistent with the treatment of other drivers. My second concern is about statements made by Councilwoman Gloria O. to Korean newspapers and radio shows that Korean Americans should vote for her because she is Korean. If a white person was running for office and told other white people to vote for her because she was white, Gloria O. and Ed Aversa undoubtedly would call her a racist. Third, complaints about Deputy Chief McMorrow's compensatory time. So that we are crystal clear, that compensatory time was money paid that the deputy chief had earned and which the borough had not yet paid to him. The reason the amount was so high was that the borough violated the Fair Labor Standards Act, and it would have been a lot higher if Deputy Chief McMorrow had sued the borough for that violation. Had he sued, the borough would have been required to pay him 3 times his compensatory time plus his legal fees. Councilwoman O. and Councilman Aversa, I think it's extremely hypocritical for you to criticize the deputy chief for accepting money he was owed, while ignoring the fact that the chief financial administrator appointed by the borough allowed the borough to violate the Fair Labor Standards Act year after year, exposing the borough to treble damages. Maybe you shouldn't have appointed a CFO who had a full-time job in Fort Lee and 10 part-time jobs in Englewood Cliffs, the Englewood Cliffs Board of Education, Edgewater, the Edgewater Board of Education, the Fort Lee Board of Education, the Maywood Board of Education, North Arlington, Ridgefield Park, the Bergen Municipal Employees Benefits Fund, and the South Bergen Municipal Joint Insurance Fund. Fourth, your statement that the police contract Councilman Aversa negotiated will virtually eliminate large retirement payouts. Police retirement payouts have 5 components: accrued compensatory time, accrued vacation time, accrued sick time, accrued personal days, and terminal leave. Under the contract Councilman Aversa negotiated, Police officers cannot accrue any more compensatory time. However, they still keep all the compensatory time they have. And police officers are still allowed to accrue vacation time, sick time, and personal days. And they still get terminal leave. Under the contract Councilman Aversa negotiated, Captain Daniel Morrissey received $174,896.24 retirement payment, and he retired as a captain after 25 years of service. Michael McMorrow retired as a deputy chief after 42 years of service. You said you virtually eliminated retirement payments. Yet, according to Note 15 of the borough's 2016 audit, which is on the borough's website, the borough's liability for accrued vacation and sick time is $2,710,629. Recently,
Hold on. Let her finish. It's very, if you can't sit there, you can leave. No, no one else has a time limit, neither does Ms. Eastwood. Go ahead. It's instructional. Pay attention, everybody.
and I can certainly understand why Councilwoman Park would like me to stop, because my next point concerns her. Recently, Councilwoman Ellen Park filed a criminal charge against me because she did not like what I said. That was also dismissed as frivolous. Judge McCready told Councilwoman Park, and I'm quoting, "When you become a public figure, you subject yourself to criticism. I get criticized all the time. People go on Facebook and render their opinions on my opinions. It happens all the time. It's part of being a public figure." We apparently have a bunch of Democrats who only believe in democracy when they win, only believe in the First Amendment when they speak, and believe our ordinances only apply to others. I am extremely concerned about the chilling effect that voter intimidation, these lawsuits, and now meritless criminal charges can have on democracy.
Anybody else wishing to mayor? Anybody else? Yes, sir.
That's okay, no problem.
No, not now. We're open to the public right now. We're open to the public.
You're not recognized.
It's good, thank you.
Okay.
Kevin Liao, 15 Cambridge Place.
Kevin Liao.
I lived in Englewood Cliffs for 6 years. My parents have been here for over 40 years. I know some of you have met my parents. It's a great town. First of all, I want to start on a positive note. I probably should have started the meeting on a positive note. But first of all, I want to thank the mayor, the council, for your service on behalf of the community.
Thank you.
I know people don't say that, but I genuinely mean that. Thank you for your service. I know each of you puts in countless hours on behalf of the town. And no matter what you do, half the town or 60% of the town, whatever, disagrees with what you do. So it takes a lot of courage for them to be sitting up there and honestly be the target of, dissenting opinions. So I admire you for your courage, and again, I thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And honestly, every time I see any of you in town, you're always so nice and so respectful to both me and my family. My wife, Jessica, I have a 7-year-old boy, Peter. I have a 3-year-old son, Parker, who's quite a handful. And let that be on the record, please. I mean, you've literally invited us into your homes. I mean, we've been to Ed's house. Parker disturbed your bird, so I apologize for that. I've been to Ellen's house. I've gone running with Gloria. I've gone running with Bill. Bill and I coach Little League together. Mr. Mayor, I see you in the park all the time. I shake hands with you. I saw you at North Cliff for the election. You offered my kids sandwiches. I mean, it's really genuinely nice people. And I just want to remind everyone that deep down inside, everyone here really cares about this town and is genuinely nice people.
And you did a very good job of juggling a 3-year-old and 2 sandwiches.
Yes. So, again, and Carol, I see you at the park all the time for, on Saturday mornings for rec. Mark, every time I see you, I just want you in the bathroom. You didn't want to shake my hand because I'm thankful for that. But literally, I've seen all these people in town, and they've always been so nice to me. They've always been so nice to my family, nice to my dad. You know, my mom passed away this year, Gloria, and Ellen went to my mom's memorial service. Bill stopped by my dad's house, you know, to give us some condolences. I mean, this is the type of town we live in, so let's all just remember that. And this is exactly the type of town that I want to live in. And I also think it's pretty cool that my 7-year-old son, Peter, actually knows each and every one of you. He's read all the mailings. I mean, he loves to read the mailings. He loves to read. And, you know, I encourage him to read because I want to be fully transparent with him and not try to hide anything.
You don't censor it?
I do not censor it. I absolutely do not
You have a
censor it.
campaign mail?
He knows everything. He thought Shaw Calderon was one person. And, you know, Mr. Mayor, you saw me. I brought my kids with me to vote on Election Day, and I would love to bring my older ones to council meeting so they can see local government in action. However, I've attended a few of these council meetings, and over the last few weeks, I've binge-watched some of the ones I've missed on the town website. It's better than Netflix, everyone. Based on what I've seen, you know, I'm definitely reluctant to do so because of all these personal attacks and poor behavior, not just in the council, but honestly, everyone in the audience. I mean, it doesn't have to be so personal, and it really bothers me because, again, I see all you guys in town, and I say hi to you, and I shake hands with people, and, you know, I think it's interesting because as adults, when we're in front of our kids, we try to act a certain way. And I notice there's no kids in this room today, so now we can kind of not censor ourselves and act a different way. And I just want us to hopefully get to the point where we can all act like our kids are in the room with us, and we want to be a better example for them. So now that the election's over, I'm hopeful that both sides, both Democrats and Republicans, and for full transparency, I'm registered as a Democrat, but I have voted both ways. But I'm hopeful both sides can put aside their differences and work together. And all of us are here tonight at 9:50 p.m. on a Thursday night because we care about this town, and we want to do what's best for the town. And that's what we share in common. So, this is what I propose. I think it would be very beneficial for the mayor and the council to have dinner together. Not in their official capacity as council and mayor, but as residents of this town. And so, no talking business, no talking politics, honestly just get to know each other. I know everyone here, you know, great parents, great kids. You know, Mr. Mayor, I admire, your kids. I know your son went to Yale. Everyone here, you know, Gloria, your son's in law school, he's about to graduate. Everyone here has done such a great job being parents to their kids. And that's what we all share in common here. So I'm literally, on the record again, inviting every single one of you sitting up there to dinner, to, quote, break bread together, and I will even pick up the tab. Just don't tell my wife. So on that note, again, I want to thank you all for your service, and I'm really hopeful that starting tonight, we all realize that we're all on the same team, and we're all here for the same purpose. And, you know, I'm not going to talk about my views where I agree or disagree with whatever. I mean, that's, you know, I don't care about that stuff right now. I just want everyone here to, you know, try to work together. I would love at the December meeting to bring my son here and not have to have him wear earmuffs when certain things come up. And again, I'm not targeting this towards one side or the other side. You know, I'm talking to everyone literally in this room.
The January meeting will have a mayor for the day, and it'll be open to students, so they're working on a program, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think, honestly, if we have kids here at every single council meeting, I think the tone here would be much different than it has been from what I've seen and what I've heard. So, yeah, you can wait until they go to bed, and then reality starts. And even just one last suggestion. You guys sit separate. I mean, the Democrats are on the left. It's so, like, stereotypical. It's like, I'm like watching like a movie or something, where the Democrats are on the left, Republicans are on the right, and I don't think it's necessary. So, that's my 2 cents. I've never spoken at a council meeting. I've been to a few of these, and I appreciate your time. And again, I thank you all for your service.
Thank you. Thank you. Does everyone like Le Bernardin on council? Good, good. Got another Yale grad. Anybody else wishing to be heard? Yes.
Can you repeat the last? Sorry. Sorry.
I think Kevin said it very, very nicely. David DiGregorio, 165, Charlotte Place. I think that civility there's plenty of contempt to go around in this room. And I think that some people that have, it's the natural thing. It's the ordinary thing. If a person feels like they've been hurt or wronged in the past by somebody, they feel they have a right to hurt somebody in return. And I think that's got to stop. And it doesn't matter if the Republicans are in power, which they seem to have the swaying vote now. It's so important to have that discourse and not to inflame it. And I think that I will say that there have been certain statements made that have inflamed people, and people have taken offense. And I think, as I said in the beginning, if there's regret, and if there's an apology, and if there's a moving on, things can get done, and the leader needs to set the example for that. Now, I'm willing to say about if I've ever been disrespectful to the mayor, and I voted for you. If I've been disrespectful to you, I apologize. I apologize to Frank Patty. I gave him a rough time in the beginning. So I'll apologize to you. But as I said in the beginning, I think that you owe the people that you refer to as enemies of democracy have no place in this town. I think that you should do your part. You will be respected more also. I plead with you to do that and really to lead and think about the actions that you're taking in town. Make sure that you're having good will. We're all people. We're all born without names. We're given names and then we adopt beliefs. Rise above the animosities of the past and have a vision for Englewood Cliffs in the future. All of you. Thank you.
Very good.
Not Mary.
Anybody else? Yes.
Everyone hear what I'm
I'm Mary O'Shea, 12 Irving Avenue. Unlike some of the other speakers, I don't come with notes. I don't know what I'm going to say till I get here, and I don't even know till I look at the agenda. But I personally had some exchanges on Facebook with some people that are friends, and old friends, new friends, and sometimes borderline friends. But it's all I try to be constructive. I did criticize Gloria, Ed, and Ellen for their lack of participation at community events, because I was at some of the events, and I know they came, had their picture taken with the police, had their picture taken with some residents, and did not participate in the event. You didn't participate in the preparation of the event. You didn't participate in the ongoing function at the event. Karen said, "Oh, well, you sit at a booth and take people's addresses." No, I sat at a table the whole time, giving out tickets for the door prize and making sure the people lived in Englewood Cliffs that were participating. Other people were cooking. My husband got his hands burnt from the grill on cooking the hamburgers because he had latex gloves on. They melted to his hands. Okay? Other residents were working at the recreation, at the stand, helping giving out food. Okay? None of you did anything. You came and took your picture to put it on Facebook to make a presentation that you were there. You were there, but you did not participate or help the event, okay? And that's with other things, too. Now, that's your right, you don't have to. But I believe that a council person, an elected official, is there for the community to participate, to help. Ed, when you did it when you were in charge of recreation, so you know what it is.
I never whined when somebody didn't help out or pitch in, so...
I know, but I'm saying, when you were in charge of recreation, you did it, so you know what's involved.
I have to.
But why didn't you continue doing it and helping as a council person when you were not in charge? Do you have to do it just to get the fame of the position?
I was there for like Easter egg hunt and things, help us out from the beginning to the end. I don't get it.
Okay, I just feel I need to say that, okay? And Karen Geiger and I had an exchange on Facebook about it, and I still believe in what I'm saying, okay? And I don't despise or have an animosity toward the police, and I don't understand why the police or certain Democrats feel that the Republicans have an animosity toward the police. I have no animosity to the police, okay? And I don't know of anybody else that does, okay? And that to be projected and to be circulated is incorrect and inaccurate. I have objections to many things, okay? I had objections from when the Democrats were in control, when it was a full Democratic council, and the two Mayor Parisis were here, okay? I never sued the town, okay? Joe Favaro was the borough clerk. He authorized a check to a retired police chief 11 years after he retired, in two payments, $20-something thousand each, okay, that never was discussed at a council meeting. It was snuck through in payroll, okay? So I think for Joe Favaro to sue whatever he's suing for, that somebody did something wrong, because I don't even know what it's about, is ridiculous when there was a check that he authorized for $20-something thousand, two different times, for a chief of police that retired 11 years earlier, okay, that was no longer an employee of the borough. So there was many things that went on with the previous Democratic mayor and council that were suable if people wanted to sue. But I don't have an attorney on my Rolodex that will work for free for me, okay? But I think it's something people got to stop and think about it, stop with the damn lawsuits, okay, over procedural matters. Try to work it out, okay? Maybe you're not supposed to get everything. You get everything you're supposed to get. If there's something you don't get, maybe there's a reason. You know, do you need it? Do you need everything? And then other times there's been letters that were generated by different departments that end up in people's lawsuits. They're just generated to become a document and proof to back up a lawsuit. So ridiculous. It's just terrible, okay? And it shouldn't be. And Mike McMorrow, 42 years a policeman. Ed, you were in charge of contracts, the last contract. All these things that he was paid for were in the contract. There was nothing that he got that he shouldn't have got. Vacation days, sick days, comp days. Okay?
It was in the, you put it in your literature like he stole money. You know, shame on you. No. Absolutely not.
And another thing was said in the literature that a position, excuse me, okay? I listened to everybody, and I never said nothing when anyone else was talking, all right? That was in the literature, that said there was a deputy chief position carved out for him. That deputy chief position was in there from earlier. Mike McMorrow was not the first deputy chief. Mike Chiatti was the deputy chief under Bauerschmidt. Larry Whiting was the deputy chief under Farley. Okay, it was a position that was left in the table of organization that should have been struck out 20 years ago, and it never was. Okay?
Struck it out, thank you.
Okay, yes, all right?
Thank you.
And I think you could strike out a few more positions on that table of organization, in my opinion. Okay? We have more white shirts walking around than patrolmen, all right? And the other thing is, you know, you have a police car sitting, I said it at the last meeting, up by the LG building above Sage Road, looking for speeders coming down 9W. I don't know how that makes any of us safe in the residential area to have a police car sitting up on 9W looking for traffic speeders, or two police cars sitting in front of the firehouse talking to each other. They're not patrolling the streets. They're not watching for burglars that are looking in your houses. They're not looking for somebody that's stealing packages off your front steps. I mean, you know, they're not making you safe, and you want to be safe. So those are the things that shouldn't be done, okay? So, you know, people have to stop and think, all right? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to be heard? Okay, seeing nobody, hearing nobody, have a motion to close the public vote.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have just a few resolutions to cover tonight. We're not going to do these by consent, we're going to go through each one. So starting with 192, Madam Clerk, would you please read it? And someone, if you're inclined to, make a motion.
You want me to just go through all of them? Yeah, one at a time, but you want me to just...
Yeah.
Resolution 192, amend not to exceed resolution for Labor Council. I need a motion and a second.
Which one?
192, we need a motion.
So move. Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
193, go out to bid for security cameras. Motion?
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
194, best practices review and submission. I need a motion.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa? E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
195, authorized tax settlement of 490 Sylvan, Luke Oil North America. Motion?
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
196, authorized tax settlement, Sylvan Avenue, Palestroni Foundation. I need a motion.
So move. Second. Okay, second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Excuse.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
197, authorized tax collector to cancel checks.
So moved.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
198, authorized removal of residential sidewalk, 192 Jenkins Drive.
So moved.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
199, Chapter 159 Bulletproof Vest Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
200, authorized tax settlement, 429 Sylvan Commercial Associates.
So move. Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
202, authorized municipal clerk to advertise for construction official.
So move.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
203, authorize mayor to sign Sprint maintenance and upgrade to cell tower agreement.
So move. Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
204, oh, I think,
That's tabled.
that's the one too, okay. 205, authorize hold harmless and indemnity agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Yes. I need a second.
I need it. I did it.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
206 we took off, correct?
Withdrawn.
Yep. 207, we're good. 207, appoint borough attorney to represent defendants in Favaro and Simon versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs.
So move.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Excuse.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Recuse?
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
Was 208 tabled?
No.
208, appoint borough attorney to represent defendants in Chaffee versus Borough and council members.
So move.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Oh, we didn't get a turn yet, though, right?
No, not that one. The next, this is on the Chaffee case to challenge the PSD
I
one.
just want to make sure we get,
We're going with that one. The next one's the one we withdrew.
yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
209 we withdrew.
We tabled it. 209 tabled.
Yeah, table. 210, approve clerical revision after first reading of ordinance 17-14.
So move.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa? If the borough attorney can elaborate?
Yes, it's explicitly explained in that resolution, Councilman. I made
There's crossouts.
I'm sorry, I should have been prepared to talk about it, but in any event, what happened was, I was doing one section of the ordinance, and I rewrote another, and I got it wrong, so
So it's just to cross out or eliminate everything.
yeah, it's pretty, it's,
Got it.
and now we talked to the chief and got it straight.
Good, just wanted to make sure. That's
Okay.
all. I have a paper version in front of me.
Okay, oh, you're looking at that phone?
No, his pad. Oh, Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
211, replace and supersede Resolution 2013-50 regarding use of borough vehicles.
Discussion? I'm sorry, point of order?
Yes. Councilman Aversa.
Just to know a little bit about that. I read it, but... What is the...
Can you turn your microphone on? It's not picking up.
Actually, it's on, it's just was it on?
Okay, Councilman, besides the proposed resolution that you have, I had the borough clerk, and she did send you the resolution that we are superseding. So I gave you the prior policy and the new policy. To put it briefly, fire chief and fire deputy chief will continue to be able to use their cars for personal use as previously agreed, but we've limited the time, the geographical to New Jersey and within 15 miles of Bergen County border.
Englewood Cliffs border.
No, Bergen County border for the chiefs, because they have to respond to mutual aid throughout Bergen County.
You're right,
Now,
correct.
are they still going to be able to take their vehicles to get maintained and all that? Because I know sometimes we take some of the vehicles far away.
Yes, everything's fine with that.
Not personal use.
That's not personal use
Okay.
either. So with the chief of police and Mr. DPW guy, we limited to within 25 miles of borough borders. Still can use it for personal use, but within 25 miles, because those two are different than the fire chief and the deputy chief. They don't have mutual aid that they have to respond to. They don't have and also, by the way, they're borough employees, so they're here in the borough anyway, versus the chief and the fire chief who might not be here in the borough.
So just out of, just for public information as well as my own, there hasn't been any abuse of any kind that we're concerned
No,
about? Just cleaning it up, making sure
It's a
that...
cost-saving measure, and I'm not aware of any kind of problem with abuse of anything, but it is a cost-saving measure. It is a cost-saving measure.
So so that's, I guess that's the question. If they're taking it too far, then...
Well, the previous resolution let them go to any adjoining state for personal business, any state.
Okay.
So now we took that away, sort of. Gave them a limit of 25 miles and 50 miles.
It's reasonable, that's all. It's just why everybody knows why we're doing it, not just because...
Okay, well, we'll do that when we get to Jerry Frank, Jim.
Yeah, we're gonna...
Ask about that.
Okay, thank you.
Concerns are answered?
Yep.
Okay. May I have a motion?
So move.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes, I think that's reasonable.
E. Park? Yes. O? Yes. McMorro? Yes. M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
212, authorization to transfer budget appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park? Yes. O? Yes. McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
213, Chapter 159, Municipal Alliance Grant. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O? Yes. McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
214, Chapter 159, Alcohol Education and Rehabilitation.
So move.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O? Yes. McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
215, Chapter 159, Body Armor Grant.
So move.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O? Yes. McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
216, Chapter 159, Clean Communities.
So moved.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O? Yes. McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
Mayor, all the resolutions passed?
We have 217.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right.
Here, we have 217, 218, and we split 202 into separate...
Yeah, that's correct. Yep. So 217. Let me just go to my sheet. Okay. 217, appoint council, for Councilwoman McMorro and E. Park versus Borough.
125 an hour.
125, for $125 an hour.
It's pursuant to the...
It's not pursuant to RFQ, but rather pursuant to the procedures of pay to play.
So
Okay.
moved.
I need a second?
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Oh, right.
O?
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
218, advertise,
No.
or authorize the borough administrator to search for counsel to represent the mayor, the borough, and the municipal clerk.
So moved.
Second.
In the park
I'm sorry,
versus
in the
borough.
Ellen Park, correct.
Ellen Stewart?
No, she's not.
Councilpersons Aversa,
Yes.
E. Park.
Recuse.
O.
Yes.
McMorro,
Yes.
M. Park,
Yes.
Wu.
Yes.
219, authorize the municipal clerk to advertise for a public safety director.
So moved. Second.
M. Park, I'm sorry, Aversa,
No.
E. Park,
No.
O.
No.
McMorro,
Yes.
M. Park,
Yes.
Wu.
Yes.
Mayor, it's a tie.
Yes.
It passes. I think that was it.
That's it for resolution.
Okay. The next order of business is the public hearing on 17-14, ordinance for amending the code of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs, Chapter 2, Section 2-13.16, entitled Fees in Regard to Traffic Control and Workplace Safety to establish and dedicate an administrative fee as revised under Resolution 17-210. Mayor, we need to open to the public.
Do you have a motion to open to the public? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
If there's anyone from the public who wishes to be heard only on ordinance 17-14, which the municipal clerk just read out, please come to the microphone, state your name and address, and you're limited again to just speaking on this ordinance. Anybody? Raise your hand.
Can you just explain it a little bit? What are the...
Name,
She wants
please.
to explain.
Sure.
Debbie Fair, 49 Irving Avenue.
As set forth in the first reading and as revised for the second reading, we're basically adding just an administrative fee for when road construction or other construction that necessitates a police officer or a police car is on the road, they have to pay to reimburse us X dollars per hour for cop, and X dollar per hour for police officers. To that, we added an administrative fee. I forget what the percentage is. It's in the resolution, and that is dedicated to DARE or such other program as may be appointed, chosen by the borough administrator.
Okay, and these are things that construction people pay, PSE&G pay?
Yes, yes. Or wherever a police officer is needed to do,
And what was
to
the
assist.
percentage you said of the fee? Did you say there was a percentage?
it's like 7%.
7% administrative fee on top of that?
Yes. Now, just so you know, along with that, I also wanted to clean up the rest of the ordinance, and that's where I made a clerical mistake. So that's where we changed it.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public who wishes to be heard, please come up. Have a motion to close the public portion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we need a motion to adopt the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Councilpersons Aversa,
Yes.
E. Park.
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro.
Yes.
M. Park.
Yes.
Wu.
Yes.
Next one is, resolution, I'm sorry, ordinance 2017-15, with a public hearing of December 13. An ordinance replacing ordinance number 7509 entitled, "An Ordinance Providing for the Compensation of Employees of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs During Periods of Illness," commonly known as the Jerry Frank Ordinance.
Okay, I'm going to defer the conversation on this, the explanation to Borough Council. And also, I will mention it's a cost-saving measure.
Yes. And just briefly for history, I know that various members of this council, actual members, have looked at this ordinance as something that's sort of a relic. And when I first came here and was confronted with this Jerry Frank ordinance that allows for borough employees to request and receive paid medical leave for up to 180 days, depending upon a graduated schedule for the amount of time they had been employees. And it's a relic because that may be the way things were done in 1975 when this ordinance was adopted, but it's generally not the way boroughs, municipalities do meet their financial or other obligations to the borough, to their employees, rather. They have contracts, they may have a personnel manual, they may adopt a medical leave or follow the medical leave laws, they may... State disability laws, etc. There's a lot of things that have changed between 1975 and now. And so we're looking to eliminate this as a given. It's not to say we couldn't consider it on an individual basis, but it's not an entitlement that we think that we should continue in as broad-based a manner as it is under this ordinance. So, and we're also teeing up for upcoming contract negotiations with respect to this issue. So, but we're not touching any contracts with this ordinance. We're touching only the ordinance.
Okay.
Okay, so it's basically a cost-saving measure, it's a pro-taxpayer measure.
I think we all agree that needs to be cleaned up too, because the original intent of it, just so the public knows, from what I was told and what was explained to me years ago, was it was meant for employees who were kind of gravely ill, to give them some compensation to get through that time. But it was supposed to be only like a one-time thing. And that, I guess some people, I can't say who, what, where, but took advantage of that and used it more than once. So I agree it needs to be cleaned up, whether we repeal it completely or change it to some extent, or like Barbara Attorney said, do a case-by-case basis, which I'm not in favor of. That's why it's being brought.
I would add that before we did this, I had the borough administrator look into everything that's available to our employees if something would happen to them where they're unable to work for an extended period of time, and she assured me that there's several programs. One is an opt-in, and then another one is a state short-term disability insurance program, so...
There are options for them.
All I was going to add was somehow in that ordinance it got added in that it could be done once a year.
Right.
That was never, my remembrance, what I was taught was...
I don't remember that either, but
yeah.
It's supposed to be
But
once.
it's supposed to be once, but it actually does read once a year, once a calendar, so...
Well, the other thing too is the graduated, how long they've been employees?
Yeah.
Before that you would do it? They they said they're going to give 180 days to someone who's only been employed 5 years. Go find that in the public sector, in the private sector, much less the public. Public sector would never do that. Okay? You put 25 years in, there might be something different. But 5 years, it's tough. So, it's a cost-saving measure for this borough.
Okay. Any other questions for council, discussion? Okay, have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Do you have a vote?
You have to read it, right?
I read it by title.
Okay,
She
so
read it.
this is a motion to adopt the ordinance.
No.
This is an introduction.
This is introduced.
Yes.
Okay.
Introduce the repeal.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
Next item is committee reports, Mayor.
Okay, what else?
Committee reports?
Okay, let's do committee reports, starting from Councilman Aversa and working our way down to state your committee and give us your report.
Lighting, no reports this time, Mayor. We got some things coming up though in December and January, so we hope to have something to report by then.
What are those things?
We're hoping to touch base again with PSE&G, because in November, they were supposed to get some of their, that change, you were at that meeting, Mayor, that they were
Right.
supposed to come back with hopefully some better pricing on LED lighting. I'm not sure if that went through, but I'd like to...
Yes, right, so the Board of Public Utilities is supposed to be adopting a policy where anything that they change in terms of light fixtures, streetlights, that they would be automatically put in as LED lights, better light.
And if I hear anything, Mayor, I'll bring it to your attention immediately, and we can address it from there.
Thank you. Councilwoman Park?
There was no Board of Health meeting as of yet. It'll be on Monday coming up, so I have nothing to report.
Councilwoman O?
Transportation, I have nothing to report.
Councilwoman McMorro?
Mayor, Veterans Day is going to be celebrated this Saturday. For anyone that would like to come join us at Veterans Park, we'll have a small service, and then we will have coffee and donuts or cake at the community center at 11 o'clock at Veterans Park. We had trunk or treat. I thought it was a great success. And first, I'd like, Kevin, I have to tell you, I thought you spoke very well, and I thank you for your words. And in thinking positive, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. That has to come from both sides, though. You know, and it's very difficult when you're constantly being sued. I presently have 7 lawsuits against me. As soon as they get dismissed, they turn around, they find a way to file it again, and they just slam you. So, in responding to what you're saying, you know, you keep coming here, and you keep giving your time, and you keep doing what you want to do. I mean, you know, and I'm with you. My parents came from Florida, 88 years old. They probably was their one opportunity they could have seen me up on this dais. I would not take the chance of bringing them here and having my father have a stroke in watching how we're treated up here. So it's disgraceful. And, you know, you give a lot of yourself and of your family time when you're here, and it needs to be respected. But anyway, getting back to trunk or treat, I thought it was a great success. We had a little bit of an issue with, unfortunately, the email system, which wasn't letting us be able to communicate as well as we wanted to. If Catherine was here, she'd be explaining to us, it was something with the spamware and just fighting with the outside.
We were blacklisted.
Blacklisted, yeah, and we couldn't get emails out. We thought we were sending them out. We didn't realize people weren't receiving it, so all of that work Richard did in trying to get the notice out for the date change on trunk or treat, and on Wednesday, we had to make a quick decision. Do we have it Saturday, or do we cancel it for a week later? And we thought, as a borough, we thought we were doing the right thing and not disappointing the children and putting it off an additional week. There were many people that, obviously, that were all over social media trashing us for that decision. The 300 kids that I saw there and the 3,100 pieces of candy that we gave out, I thought they had a great time, and I'm sorry if we disappointed some people. Also, I think basketball season is up and running and starting, and soccer's last game will be next Saturday. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Councilman Park?
Yep. Planning board, we got the meeting yesterday. We approved the 5th Street 9 months extension because they cannot do the original their approved period, so we did it. And another case is 800 Sylvan Avenue denial resolution approved yesterday. That's it.
Police, nothing to report. DPW, Recycle Fest, I heard, was a tremendous success. Mark, sorry I couldn't make it. I was away on a business trip. Similar to Carol, just want to acknowledge some of the speakers, Kevin, Michael, thank you guys for your comments, just keeping it, you know, in a positive note, keeping it on a positive note. You know, we work hard here. You know, I have my family lives in Englewood Cliffs, my sister, my mother, they're all here. And frankly speaking, it's tough. I've always wanted them to come to these council meetings to see what's going on, but, you know, unfortunately, we do all take so many attacks, and like I said, I hope we can just end the divisiveness. We try to do things in the best interest of our community. Sometimes we disagree, and there's nothing we can do about that. But we're up here, we have people that voted for us, and, you just have to trust that we're making decisions that are, in the best interest of not only the taxpayers, but also the borough employees. I mean, we have to keep a fine balance. So, I just wanted to say those couple of words. Thank you.
Actually, I would like to say a couple of words, too. I just want to...
be recognized?
Oh, can I be recognized?
Yes.
I just want to say, whatever happened in the past, I really don't care. I am here now to do the right thing, and I'm sorry if you didn't get your documents before. That has nothing to do with me. I'm here to look to the future. I'm here to progress our town, and I'm tired of people saying to me, blaming me for things that happened in the past. I just got here this year, and you guys are making it so difficult for me and my family. And, we talk about not being divisive and being together. It is really, really hard. And yes, I would love for us to sit mixed up in a seat. However, these were assigned seats, and we sat here, and here we are. So I am trying to make this better as well, and I am also very tired of people talking about the past. So please, can we move forward? It's 2018 coming up. Can we just do that? Thank you.
Okay, great.
Mayor.
Yes, would you like to be recognized?
Yeah, may I be
Yes.
recognized? I ended that so well, and I want to say this in the nicest way possible. Councilwoman Park, you are sitting there and saying that you want to... Everybody heard what you just said, what you wanted to do. Yet you served me with a lawsuit, naming me as a defendant.
For information.
Excuse me, I didn't interrupt you.
Not for money.
Excuse me, please. I gave you every single thing that you asked for. Catherine's not here, she can attest to it. I came in, I was so sick that day not to miss the Oprah. Lizette knows I was here.
Okay.
No, Mayor, excuse me.
We should talk about litigation.
I'm not going to say that. I wouldn't want to respond.
All right. Okay.
It's pending litigation.
I'm not going to go into detail about it, in general.
I like Kevin's idea.
I do too.
Let's go to dinner.
But when you do that, you have to then live by the words you're saying. And you don't serve people lawsuits at 9 o'clock at night and wake them up from their sleep. Just serve them when you know they're in Borough Hall, and just give them the lawsuit. So then live by your words of what you're saying. It's horrible what you're doing. Horrible.
Okay. So, I want to thank Mark Neville and Ralph. You and your teams have done a great job at DPW. We had a late leaf season. They finally fell. They fell all at once, which I don't know if that makes it harder or easier for you guys, but thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks. So just a couple other things. In the whole kumbaya moment that we're having here, I just want to mention that, look, again, you may not agree with us, but that's the way it is right now. And, sometimes, we did pretty well tonight. We agreed on a lot of things. But if you don't agree with somebody, you shouldn't threaten their life. Somebody did that at one of our meetings. They left here and they were overheard saying, I gotta take him down, meaning me. And now, that's not acceptable. First of all, if you're gonna threaten me to my face, and we'll deal with it. Second of all, if you're an employee of the borough, you shouldn't be doing that. And if you're a resident of the borough, you shouldn't be doing that. And if you're a human being walking the face of this earth, you should not be doing that. So lesson learned, there are going to be ramifications. And let that be a lesson. The rest of us, we know better than that. The other item that I wanted to mention was, there's, Ms. Perry, you can't help yourself, you gotta keep interjecting. Well, no, it's not open to you. Right, well, this is not public comment, so just sit there and listen, please. Okay? Yeah, you will not get an apology. You don't deserve an apology. What you deserve is me working hard for the residents, okay? Not for you and not for your political party alone, but for everybody, okay? All right? your mailer didn't seem to know exactly what your sentiment was tonight. So maybe you could send another mailer out to the town withdrawing it, okay? Think about it. That was just one more bad idea from you this year, okay? Doing the cobblestone streets in Englewood Cliffs was your first bad idea this year. You don't get the floor.
Kevin, so much for...
The next thing I want to talk about
You
is
see pretty
governing...
much what's going on here.
Leave.
I am going.
Leave.
You're not kicking me out.
You're out. Leave. Leave.
Pleasant evening to all of you. Especially to you, Mr. Mayor.
Leave.
Pleasant evening to you.
Okay, good.
And
The next thing I want to talk about
apology.
is, we had gone down a path of, applaud him, that's right, Mr. Geiger, applaud him. You can join him if you want.
Thank you. Planning board.
Go ahead. Mr. Geiger, would you like to join him since you were clapping? Because it's all so funny to you, right? All right. So here's the thing. About a year and a half ago, the PBA came in here and said, we're worried about somebody in our PBA being on drugs in our department. So we took that to heart and we said, hey, let's have a drug testing policy. So we created a drug testing policy. And they've been fighting us ever since about the drug testing policy. They don't really want it. They just wanted to focus on one person who they said was on drugs. So, look, my first responsibility is to make sure everybody who lives here in this town and who works here in this town is safe. So if somebody says there's drug use in the police department, and as you know, police officers carry guns, we're going to deal with it. So I thought that since they've been fighting us on that we should also, as a governing body, discuss whether or not we are willing, as a governing body, to set the example and also be randomly drug tested. I'm all for it. But I'd like to hear your views. There's nothing being decided tonight. So if anybody wants to say anything about it, let me know.
I'll speak.
Yeah, good.
I'm a dentist and we get drug
Microphone,
tested.
please.
I'm a dentist and we get drug tested in New Jersey, so I'm not necessarily against that. I just, I don't know, I guess it's not a bad idea, but I'm not crazy about it, let's put it that way.
Okay.
I'll listen.
Councilwoman Park? Good idea, bad idea?
Why are you cutting me off before I can say anything?
I'm asking you.
Well, first of all, I think it has something to do with our Fourth Amendment right, right? We are elected public officials, right? This is an illegal search and seizure. That doesn't mean that I will not subject myself to a drug test, but now we're setting precedents for everybody to be after us to say, hey, why don't we randomly drug test you? So on that, I think it's a bad idea.
Okay, good.
And
I
it
appreciate you
opens,
telling me that, but it's also not illegal if we all agreed to do it
but it's coercive, and it's, you're basically putting us in a situation where,
So you're a no.
why are you cutting me off? That's not what I said. I said, you're putting me in a position where if I say no, then it looks bad on me. Like, that's not right, you know?
All right.
So again, you're violating a constitutional right, and if, I'm not saying no, but
I said
again,
what if it's voluntary?
I understand that. I said I will voluntarily submit to a drug test. That's not the point. The point is, now we're setting precedent, and you cannot do that and violate other people's Fourth Amendment rights.
I think
So-
we're having a discussion.
We're having a
But that's what I'm saying, but he's telling me yes or no, yes or no. What's your position?
Why are you getting so agitated?
He's just asking.
Because you keep cutting me off.
Okay, Councilwoman,
I don't see what the connection is between the random drug testing of the police and the governing body. I mean, personally, I have no problem doing random drug testing. It would be waste of your money or the taxpayers' money. But I just don't see the connection between the police and the governing body.
okay.
We don't carry weapons, Mayor. We don't.
No, but I just thought we would lead by example, and so last year when we tried to implement that policy, I told the officers, look, when you get tested, give me a call, I'll come get tested with you. Councilwoman McMorro, yes or no?
I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean, something similar to this came up a couple of years back. It had to do with a criminal background check. The subject matter, actually, it was Councilman Falker he was an advocate for he wanted the council to submit to a criminal background check. And that was, a discussion that lasted for months going back and forth because there were people that brought up what you're saying. But at the end, we did pass that ordinance and,
I have a question for Anne Marie.
Pass with the criminal background, with drug testing.
So Councilman Park?
Yeah, I'm supporting about the random, investigate. That is good for our community in case, who knows?
Yeah.
That we need it.
Councilman Wu?
I support it, provided that, everyone is treated equally.
Right.
So it would have to apply to everybody, including even the members of council. I think we have, obviously everyone's probably read in the news, a major opioid crisis. We got state of New Jersey suing Purdue Pharma. And then all the mass shootings that are going on at the church in Las Vegas. I think it's a serious issue, and I fully support it.
Okay. So I just thought we would
I have a
kick it
question
around
for
and talk
the
about-
borough attorney, though.
Sorry,
So
yeah.
are there other towns that do this, or other places in the United States that randomly drug test their elected officials?
Well, first of all, I don't know if it's going to be random or anything about the actual resolution, because there isn't a resolution. But I did not do any research to back up or answer that question. I know that there have been members of elected bodies in newspapers, being talked about that they're abusing drugs or alcohol or whatever. But I can't tell you how many municipalities have it.
Can you find out for us? Because if there is, then it doesn't open us up for liability, because we don't set precedent now for future, right?
Well, actually, I spoke to the labor attorney about it already, and he was fine with it, so just, we could get him more specific questions. Again, we're not doing anything tonight, I just wanted to have a discussion about it.
That's fine.
Complicated. Okay, next thing I wanted to discuss with everybody here, let's do the easy one first, Shade Tree Program Kiosk. I see our Shade Tree Commissioner here. Would you just tell us about that, please? You can do it from there if you want. I think we'll hear. Okay. We need to get one of those microphones that buzzes around the room.
The Shade Tree Commission had a kiosk that was put up in the park a year or so ago, but it apparently was done without permission, and it was taken down, and we'd like to put it back up. It ultimately is going to include a map of the park with all of the trees so that people can walk around. The trees all have numbers on them, little round circles, so people can walk around, pick the number, and figure out what tree it is, because we do get questions from residents about, I really liked this tree in the park, and I'd like to plant it in my own house, and what is it? And it would be educational, and it would be a community project, and we'd like to put it back.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate your help doing that on the Shade Tree Commission. Actually, Lauren and I spoke about some of the trees that need to be replaced that were tribute trees at the park. They've fallen on hard times, a few of those. I know Mark is working with Lauren on that. And I'm also, just so everybody knows, and that no one's surprised, that there's a lot of things at the park that were never authorized to be in the park in terms of monuments and plaques and things. So we're reviewing that as well. In terms of, there's a notation here for cameras on the public speakers during council meetings. I thought it might be a good idea to actually have a camera on the speakers, because the videos of us up here are being misused, okay? Because you could leave, seriously. I'm inviting you to leave, or to just sit there and not stop commenting, because nobody cares about your comments. So, here's the thing, it just happened, right? She should have been on camera, so the public could see how people are out of turn, or how nasty they get at the microphone. Maybe we won't have that going forward, because it's such a kumbaya evening here, but we had the PBA in here the other day, and one of the police officers was being restrained by the others. His shirt was stretched out. It's on the private video, but not on the public video. So I think it'd be good for the public to get the full effect, the full grasp, the full understanding of what goes on here, so that when people do binge and watch our videos, they get the full perception of what's happening. And now that a lot of shows are getting canceled anyway, it's probably good TV. Sadly. Okay, a serious matter. We had in the last election the Englewood Cliffs Police Department bargaining unit, in my view, misused the Englewood Cliff Police Department police patch, the email address, and our other intellectual property. Now, I don't know if it's actionable or not. I don't decide that, but I want to have, I want it to be looked into so that people learn a lesson. We respect our officers. I am probably the most pro-law enforcement person in this room, other than Carol McMorrow maybe, but people have to understand where the limits are. And you can't exceed those limits and then come to a meeting and just kind of want to be nice with everybody. We could do that going forward, yes, of course, I'm all for it. But let's deal with the past as well, okay? So I would like to have a motion, if possible, to authorize our borough council to take, would you like...
Mayor, can I make a statement prior to that? As police commissioner, a couple of things. Number one, I've had great interactions with all of our police officers. They've been nothing but friendly, never had an issue. As a councilman, however, this election season, it was disturbing that certain members of the police department have used the patch, like many people have mentioned already, and also the email marked as EC Police Department, to endorse political candidates. I think participating is one thing. I have no issues with that whatsoever. But using the patch and email address and sending it to who knows how many residents, I do have an issue with that. I think that's taking it to another level. And I concur with the mayor. I think it's something that we have to investigate, because I just completely don't think that should go on in the future. And also, for the record, there was some statements made about me, the fact that I refused to meet with the police department. That's untrue. In August, Jay Lee called me and he said, William, would love to have a meeting with you one-on-one. I met with him one-on-one. We were going to have a follow-up meeting, and I said in the follow-up meeting, I'd like the police committee to join me for that meeting. That meeting was denied, not by me. So, and I didn't really follow beyond that what the reason was. He didn't want to have the meeting with the police committee. So I just want to state that for the record. And, regarding, I do want to make a motion regarding the inappropriate and unlawful use for political purposes by certain members of the ECPD and the ECPD bargaining unit. I'd like to investigate the same and take any appropriate action to protect the borough's rights and seek any damages of appropriate form from the foregoing and any individuals involved.
I'll second that.
Okay, could we have a vote?
And
Second, my Carol. Sure.
I'm just a little, we didn't have this discussion before until now. And so what is the motion exactly? Can you repeat what Bill said? It was to authorize?
Yeah, I'd like to investigate, basically, the inappropriate and unlawful use for political purposes, the patch and/or any type of formal uniform by the police department for political purposes.
So you want to investigate the police for using the patch for political purposes, right? Is that what it is?
The use of the patch, yes.
And who will be doing the investigation, or is this just...
The email address?
Email, intellectual property, the patch,
But
uniform.
authorizing who, though?
The Borough Council.
The Borough Council.
Yes, to take all necessary and appropriate actions, which means you can look into it. So one of the effects, and I know it's campaign season and it's all very funny when you're doing it, but there are voter intimidation laws. So if you're a person who gets a letter that looks like it's from your police department telling you to do or not do something, you're changing somebody's behavior or you're affecting it. And that's exactly what voter intimidation laws were meant to stop. And if you're in the law enforcement and you're doing that under the indicia of officialdom, it's a problem. And I will not tolerate that. So that's why we're doing this now. You can. What would you like to add?
I'm okay with that. However, I would like the borough administrator to investigate, since she's the one who's going to have to probably make a recommendation for any kind of disciplinary or some other action, I'm assuming, right?
Well, I don't want it that way. I want the council to work with the administrator or with whoever else she feels she needs to work with, and report back to us at the next meeting.
Report back to you, because I'm not going to do anything that's been money or hires anything without the council approval. So you're okay with me coming back? We'll have a closed session on it.
I don't care if it's an open session, but...
Yeah, they're billable out. Well, no offense, but we had that discussion in there that you have a lot on your plate, and so...
This is not that difficult, but anyway,
Right.
I already looked at it briefly.
Mayor, point of order, for the record, Councilman Aversa and Councilwoman O would have to recuse from this conversation. They were a direct beneficiary. I said, for the record, Councilwoman O and Councilman Aversa would have to recuse from all of this discussion, both public on the dais and in the room. They directly benefited by, what took place. You won an election. You did right, and it could have, don't know what happened, but it could have had an effect on the election, and, that is something,
All right, so on its face, it doesn't look right. So let's see what we have, okay? Let's have a vote.
I don't want to,
What do
Can we-
you say?
basically, I don't want to spend more money, and I think if anything, again, I think we have the borough administrator, and you can work on it with her, and if there needs to be legal work done, then let it go to Anne Marie, but I think you're kind of putting the cart before the horse, because I don't know what the investigation actually entails, so I don't think legal work per se might be the first way to go about it.
Here's the problem. I didn't bring the cart, and I didn't bring the horse. I have to deal with it now, because somebody else did that, okay? And it might cost us some money, but that's the way it is.
But why can't we, why can't we have the borough administrator who pay a salary to deal with it?
It's fine. You can vote no if you want to vote no. I mean, you benefited last year from it as well, so they did the same thing.
I have no...
Let's go. Let's have a vote.
Maybe we should all recuse then.
You guys do whatever you want. Let's have a vote.
Councilpersons Aversa?
Recuse.
E. Park?
No.
O? McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
3 yeses, and 1 no, 2 recusals.
I have no other new business.
Fine. Okay, Mayor, I have
Anybody else? Mark?
Yeah,
Council
I want to a personal statement for the record. As you know that our police department put on the Facebook very bad image to produce for me. That is a totally wrong story. I will tell you about what's going on in my point of view. I talked about it just before Lauren mentioned about last year one profiling case, right? That case is withdrawn by the Councilwoman Gloria O. That is a very, very angry situation to the Korean American community. So we talk about the public safety director position. At that time, I mentioned about it, Gloria or Councilman Gloria O shouldn't do that way, because we have to investigate this case thoroughly, because that will be preventing the second, third victim in Asian American community. That is a very, very important. We expected about it, but unfortunately, that case is just in the carpet. So I point out this one to the Korean community. Yes, I did it. But this story is maybe interpreted, wrong way interpreted and not correctly, maybe transferred to the police department. They put on my name, and then I continue talking about go to every single Korean household talking about our police department doing, racial profiling treatment. No, I didn't do that. Just say about it, this situation shouldn't be happen again, and then we have to investigate that unfortunate Gloria or this case to dismiss about it. That's a very, very unhappy to me. That I told about it. So this situation exactly talking to the Gloria or not the police department. I'm asking police union have to drop that Facebook page, and they have to apologize to me. And then personally, I support police department. I really appreciate their, professional service. Last day we got the very, urgent emergency situation, but they really did a good job. I really appreciate. But this case is a totally misunderstood, miscommunication. Please, here, most of the Democrat Party, I know, 48% showed about that Facebook, my, honor, and that is a big damage to me. Even though you sent out a letter to the whole here town, now we finished about our campaign election. People, what are you talking about? This my, statement that you are not gonna trust my statement, right? Because you think about it, I'm using about any campaign manners about this one, so I just keep quiet. Now we finished about our campaign, please. I didn't do that. Maybe some of Korean people gave the wrong information. Yes, I did this situation, the one second Korean American generation complained about it. That story, yes, I quoted, and then those kind of words, any racial profiling not happen again, we have to investigate. That I did it. But this is a totally different. I don't know if you fully understand what I'm talking about, but police union have to drop that post immediately, and then they have to apologize to me. That's my statement, please. Okay.
Can I make a statement?
Yes.
I wasn't going to say anything until Councilman Park brought this up. Councilman Park, you owe me an apology. You sent out a mass email to the Korean American residents with misinformation about this particular issue about the second generation Korean American resident who happens to be a friend's son, okay? He's also an attorney, this second generation Korean American person. He does not feel that he was racially profiled. Why are you going around? Why are you sending emails that he was racially profiled?
He wrote an email to me saying...
No, I have the floor right now. Please do not interrupt.
We'll provide
No, I have the floor.
Go ahead, Steve.
Okay? So, Councilman Park, you owe me an apology. You not endorsed all residents that the police are racially profiling the Korean Americans when it's not true, because this second generation person did not feel that he was racially profiled. You went to the residents telling people that I had interfered with an internal affair investigation, which is not true. So I don't know where you're getting your information, and this person happens to be a really close friend's son.
Right, and I thought you witness tampered back then.
Okay, that is a personal matter, that is your personal relationship. We are our Korean American community. Last July, our meeting, Mayor mentioned about this story also. At that time, he proposed about the public safety position introduced to our council meeting. And then we are talking about why we need a public safety director. So at that time, I told them that's brought in the Korean American community. We need a public safety director because this kind of the incident happened. We have to investigate, not the police department. Any civilian or any professional have to investigate this case. So that's why I brought in these matters.
You know what, why don't we do this? Why don't we invite the person, okay, who Councilman Park...
I don't want to invite about the person about it, because this one is
and tell his side of the story. You know what?
What you did was witness.
Oh,
Please,
yeah, right.
don't invite any person.
Kevin, I'm sorry. After your statement about all of us working together, this is really what's going on, and it's all
Right, this is
political.
classic.
You know what? The election ended 2 nights ago, and you guys are doing nothing but...
But I have
Why your candidate for us, okay?
President, honest candidate about the police department, I should be tolerate
Excuse me.
all over the world, on the website, Facebook, put on the mind.
Disgusting what they did to him.
Okay, well...
How come
All right,
Point of order.
my honor is damaged about that, and I have to keep silent, tell you keep quiet?
You want an apology?
True?
Point of order.
Okay.
Who said the truth?
Councilwoman McMorro, go ahead.
Come on. You have evidence? Please come on. Who said the truth?
They won't, they're cowards.
No, point of order, point of
All
order,
right.
point of order.
Yeah, okay, you just show me about the evidence.
Let him finish.
No. I'm elected up. How come I have to get that kind of, my honor damaged? I have to keep silent?
No.
Just like what they told Ellen.
You don't have the floor.
I don't have the floor.
You don't have the floor. He has the floor.
How come? Maybe, the people all over the world, I got the...
Here's what you have to recognize is, the truth is always in the first thing someone writes, right? This gentleman wrote me an email back in August of 2016, before Gloria got to him, before she talked to him, before all that nonsense, okay? This is the truth. This is what he wrote. He was upset. He got home. He wrote this email. So this is actually the true circumstances of what happened, okay? Everything else is just noise and fluff. She got to him, and now she's turning it on Mark. So, you admitted it in your own email that you talked to him. Okay, no, you don't get the floor now.
No, I would like to speak.
I'm sufficiently upset about this because you won't even own up to it, and you're trying to deny
But
it.
I'm officially
And now what we're going to do is,
this,
now what we're
okay?
going to do is hear from Councilwoman McMorro.
You
and
know
then
what,
post-
I like to invite him to the next council meeting. I'm personally going to invite him, and we'll hear from him, okay?
Tell him what to
Give
say.
him his lines.
After you tell him what to
All
say.
right.
Point of
Yeah.
order. So are you. I'd
All
like to
right,
speak,
let's
Mayor.
finish up. You
Okay.
have your
Yeah,
statement, and let's
listen,
go.
We all got that email from that young man, and I have to say, when I got that email, I was very troubled. It clearly, excuse me, what, so you can create another false narrative and tell him what to say? Whatever happens at this point, it's called witness tampering. We were all advised when we received that email, we were directed by the borough attorney, do not contact the witness. We have the emails to show, do not contact the witness. Everyone listened, other than Councilwoman O. She went to him and contacted him.
You know
and
what?
spoke to him. You're
You're really
floor.
making up stories
I
now,
have the
Carol.
floor, and the emails...
Carol.
I have the floor.
Excuse
Gloria.
me,
I have
you're
the floor.
really making up the
Listen,
story now,
I
okay?
have the floor.
This person and
I have the floor.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I have the floor.
All right, there's no...
I make a motion to adjourn. This is silly.
This is not how we're conducting
No,
our
it's
meeting,
not
okay?
silly.
This is silly.
She has the floor.
I have the
Let her
floor.
finish, and then
Thank
we'll
you.
go on. All right.
Because this is what happens, right? You have an election, you go out and this man sitting to my left, what you did laughing, shame on you. You destroyed how he feels right now. You have no shame or empathy for how he's feeling. Nothing.
You know what?
So shallow.
You know what? Let's get
No.
the copies of the
He's-
emails that he sent out.
He's telling you, let me finish. He is...
I have people that went to his house.
You don't have the floor.
All right? He mentioned my
You
name.
don't have the floor.
You're out of order.
I'm out of order.
He is telling...
What about when they speak, Mr. Mayor? Yeah.
May I finish?
You know what? I'm making a motion
May
to
I
adjourn.
finish? No, I'm speaking.
I second that motion.
No, you don't have control of the meeting.
You can leave. And that's it. You can leave, but we're going to keep the meeting going.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay.
This is silly.
What they did to Councilman Park is disgusting,
He did it
okay?
himself.
He is, look, this man What you did to you attempted to do to his reputation is disgusting, Gloria, and you should be ashamed of yourself. I was at those meetings. I heard what was said, and that was not what was said. But I'll tell you where I was. I was at the news conference when the reporters came to me telling us how you're going around telling everyone to only vote Korean because you need political power as Koreans in this town. That's disgusting. You represent everybody in this town, not just Koreans. Okay? And that's from the reporters.
Are you going to cry now?
I'm not going to cry.
I'll give you some tissues.
This is, okay, Kevin? Kevin, this is what we deal with, okay? This is what we deal with. We'll second it.
All in favor?
No,
We're adjourned.
you should be ashamed. You